विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। So we are studying this, we'll be studying this Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad mantra. And what is Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad? We have to see first in that what is Upanishad. And that I yesterday told you also that the study of the Upanishad etc. has a big place in life. For that, we analyze the word Upanishad. And Upanishad means self-knowledge. Means one should know the self. Will it be okay if I don't know? There will not be any problem in transacting with the world. Most of the people do not know the self. Everyone takes oneself to be an individual, and that is enough to basically deal with the world. You are a doer, you are a knower, etc. You are an experiencer of the world, etc. That is enough. World is different from you, you are different. As such, in our empirical realm, it doesn't have much bearing, knowing self, etc. But yes, if you say, well, what is the goal of life, etc., then definitely goal of life is happiness, etc. Goal of life is security, goal of life is peace. Goal of life is the comfort, inner comfort, everyone wants. Then ultimately it comes to this. Why, Swamiji? But that's also an object. But there is no object called happiness in this world. I would really like, I went to Costco and everywhere, but I didn't find the object called happiness, no. Object called peace, no. You can understand the peace is not an object. You can understand it very well. The security is not an object. There are security systems. Security systems make you secure or not, that's a different thing. But then definitely, so this is not an object. Then you are searching, which is a natural search, natural urge. Then it should have a solution. Any natural urge should have a solution. Natural desire should have a solution. Cultivated desire may not have a solution. I always give an example of myself that I think that I should be one of the crew member in the SpaceX. And I called Elon Musk. He said, keep doing what you are doing. Don't call further. Drop the desire. Cultivated desire may not have a solution. Natural desire has a solution, like hunger. There is a solution called food. A natural desire of a thirst, etc. There is a solution. So this also should have a solution. Nature should provide, otherwise it will be a defect in the creation. If the desire is given and then you cannot fulfill it, that's a defect. At least in a creation of the Ishvara, you don't find defect. Our creation may have some defect here and there because of, anyway, less knowledge, etc. So anyway, so that should be, what you are really searching in life is oneself. That's what we are trying to see. Yesterday we saw also. So it has a big place. Yeah, it has a very big place in life. And so therefore one should know. Of course, basically all these things ultimately depends upon, one's, on the grace of Ishvara. That's how Vivekachudamani very beautifully said, Durlabham trayamevaitat daivanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samshaya. These three things one gains by grace of Ishvara. Grace is not something the packet which Ishvara has, which every morning he distributes. Some people he gives a great packet of grace, to some other no grace, to some other disgrace. No. It's our own karma phala. Yeah. But since which karma, good karma has resulted into this favorable situation, we do not know. So we say, well, ultimately he is a karma phala data, so he has given. So we call it as a grace. So definitely, this all, even to desire to have this, to gain this knowledge, etc., desire for moksha ultimately, is a desire ultimate by Ishvara's grace. Mumukshutvam, manushyatvam, gaining human body, of course, is a grace. It's a crystalline grace. My hands is a crystalline grace. My head is a crystalline grace. My speech is a crystalline grace. My thoughts are crystalline grace. Everything grace. Human body is something very unique. Human being. Amazing. It's either you look from the standpoint of evolution or you look from the standpoint of a Shastra. Human body is very rare to get. Scientists say it's millions of years has happened from ape to human being, right? In transformation. So it's very rare. Definitely it's a grace. Anyway, so basically, so this we were discussing that yes, the self-knowledge is a ultimate solution. Everyone loves freedom, naturally. One loves freedom at any age. At the age where person becomes dependent, but still inside he or she wishes, I should be independent. So we would like to live independence. One loves freedom. Starting from a child to everyone. Even child starts walking, well, stands on its leg. Initially it may take a help of a mother's, may take a help of mother's sari or finger, or raise itself near the wall. But he feels that he can stand now on his own. He wants to be independent. He lives it immediately. So human being loves freedom. From the childhood to the old age, anywhere. In old age also one gets fractured, right? Then definitely, and you have taking support of crutches, etc. But you ask to doctor every third day, when will I leave this? I don't want it. One doesn't like to take even stick. But sometimes you become helpless. But I'm saying, inside you want that you should be dependent on anything. So, this Upanishad teaches you how to be independent. This is not in terms of physical body. It's not in terms of physical body is always dependent. Whatever sustains this physical body comes from outside. Starting from air, water, everything, food, right? So far as if I am a physical body, I am dependent. Well, mind also is dependent on certain emotional factors are there, everything. Your perception and everything, you are dependent. So if you are a composite entity, as an individual, you are dependent on the world. But are you an individual or not? That's what yesterday we were saying. When Upanishad says you are free self, well, not in terms of I am a body. And therefore, ultimately Upanishad teaches you are the one who is consciousness behind everything, who is a reality behind everything. We'll be seeing that. That's a limitless consciousness. It is oneself, and that is independent. Everything is dependent upon consciousness, time, space, and everything. And therefore, if you understand that you are just consciousness as a reality, well, you are free self. And therefore, Upanishad says the freedom which you are seeking through every effort, well, basically is yourself. What you want to be in your life is yourself. That's what it is Upanishad is teaching. And therefore, self-knowledge has a big place in our life. That's what we say. Anyway, and after that, so what is called bondage also we discussed. And now, well, as such, Upanishad, there are several Upanishads. And so in each Veda, there are Upanishads. And therefore, definitely, well, how will you distinguish one Upanishad from other Upanishad? You just cannot call Upanishad, Upanishad, Upanishad. There should be some name, some adjective. Yeah. So as such, it's not a big ceremony, naming ceremony here. Oh, yeah. Like Ishavasya Upanishad. Why you call Ishavasya Upanishad? Or Isho Upanishad sometimes they call. Why? Well, first mantra begins with that. Ishavasya idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat te yena taktena bunjithaha magruta kasya siddhanam. Ishavasya idam sarvam. Well, everything should be pervaded by Ishvara, by Brahman. So the first mantra of the Upanishad begins with word Isha. Okay, name it. Auntie is giving a name. Isha Upanishad. Kero Upanishad. Now that also same. Kene shitam patati preshitam manaha. Kena pranah paiti, etc., etc. Begins with Kena. Student's question. Ultimately, it's all dialogue. Dialogue between, I will discuss that. Why this tradition, etc., is necessary for learning. I will be talking about that. So, because Upanishad parallel studies are there. All universities in India, especially I know, there are PhDs in Upanishads. Yeah. They teach also. But it's not, it's a kind of an academic study. But this is a tradition. Why tradition is important, I will talk to you. Anyway, so Keno Upanishad, student question, and then teacher answers, etc. Same way, well, Prashna Upanishad. Why Prashna Upanishad? Prashna means question. Question Upanishad? Yeah, question Upanishad. There are 6 questions. Six students go to the teacher. Each one asks a specific question pertaining to the same subject matter, including Upasana, Omkar Upasana, etc. Also very beautiful questions are there. And the teacher answers several. That's Upanishad. So called Prashna Upanishad. Like that. So this is how the adjective, certain adjective to the Upanishad, when given and qualified, made it different. Prashna Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, etc. Same way Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad. So now we have discussed word Upanishad, so now we are entering into Muṇḍaka. Why the name Muṇḍaka? Muṇḍaka or a Munda means head. That's how we have word Mundanam, right? When you shave the head, so, well, some people don't need shave. So Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad. So it belongs to Atharva Veda. The Mandukya, and people sometimes commit a mistake. Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad and Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad, well, both belong to Atharva Veda. And in this, for the name Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad has been given because there is one particular ritual a student does before he goes to the teacher for asking this self-knowledge. And that particular ritual, which belongs to Atharva Veda, and that is called Shirovrata. Shirovrata means where you definitely, the student ceremonially carries a fire pot on his head when he is approaching the teacher for this knowledge. It indicates, this idea conveys, this idea is conveyed here, it is conveyed here to show that the student has a burning desire. He is carrying a fire pot on his head to show that my head is burning. For what? For freedom, which I am searching every moment. Earlier I was searching unknowingly, now I am searching knowingly. Where freedom lies, I am searching at that place actually, right? Gaining knowledge, etc. So, to indicate a burning desire to gain the knowledge of Upanishad when he is approaching the teacher. So, and you must have heard also, just as a person who has caught fire, on the head, his hair has caught fire. He doesn't have any other desire but to search for water, right? Same way this burning desire is there in a student to indicate that there is a ritual in Atharva Veda called Shirovrata. Shiras means basically head. So anyway, so that's how Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad. And Upanishads are, I told you, in the form of a dialogue between a teacher and a student. So it reveals that the self-knowledge should be gained with the help of teacher. I am giving you a number of reasons, not to prove the importance of teacher. It's not that. There are reasons why one should gain knowledge from the teacher. Why tradition? Because that teacher was a student earlier, right? Any teacher was a student. He gained knowledge from someone else. Then he was a student, he gained knowledge. So that's how lineage of teacher-student. And that teacher-student goes and asks question, teacher answers, dialogue, right? So definitely we should know that. And the first thing is, well, this the dialogue is presented, well, to revealing this sampradaya, means this tradition. The meaning of sampradaya or the tradition is this: the method of acquiring this knowledge. There are methods of acquiring knowledge. The knowledge should benefit you. Knowledge should benefit in terms of what? In terms of at least you drop all the notions about you. Millions of notions one has about oneself that we generally pen down in our autobiographies. All we pen down in autobiography is all notions. I was born, over. Why it is a notion? It's an error? Yeah. How can you say it's an error? Well, very well-known statements are there. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit, nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah, ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana hai, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Bhagavan says the Atma doesn't, na jayate is not born. Atma doesn't die. What is subject to birth is subject to death. What is not subject to birth is not subject to death. Simple law. And therefore, and you start your autobiography like this. I was born in a village in 1957, something, right? So, this is the very first thing, the very assumption that I am born. Definitely body is born, but you are not born, etc. So anyway, so this is how millions of notions one has. All should go. Anyway, so there is a method of acquiring this knowledge which is called sampradaya, and it is something to be acquired well with the help of a teacher, and that is indicated by a dialogue. Here also in Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad we have a dialogue between a teacher called Angiras and a student called Shaunaka, etc. So this subject matter is to be gained without doubt, and a dialogue implies the resolution of doubt. For resolution of doubt you need a teacher. First thing. Now second thing is, dialogues actually do not always resolve doubt. Sometimes you ask question and you get an answer, leads to another question, right? That's there. So dialogue, Swamiji, it is not true that dialogue always resolve the doubt. Yeah, but dialogue do not resolve the doubt in disciplines of knowledge which are definitely growing. All the fields of science. Any field. Why science? All fields. Where the knowledge is growing, there you have many doubts pertaining to that subject, and definitely they are answered, but they themselves still are growing. They cannot resolve all the doubts. One more question and then scientists has to say, well, we have not yet discovered what you are saying. They have to say. And therefore, in Vedanta, well, this is a different thing. It is also a discipline of knowledge, but here the doubts will resolve forever. Why? Because the subject matter is like this. But the subject matter is limitless, partless, whole. So doubts, whatever the doubts have, it will resolve forever. It's not that a part of, Swamiji, I have understood the part of the Brahman, part of oneself. There are no parts. If there are no parts, it is not that the doubt will be resolved in parts. Could you follow? For anything in this world, you will always have a point of view. Anything in this creation, all objects. You can understand this thing, but that will be a point of view, definitely. So you say, well, this is Swamiji, this is a clay made up of this, this, this. Further, if I ask question, you say, well, clay is made up of certain particles. Particles are made up of certain subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are made of quarks, right? We say all this. But then further, well, and that is also one way of looking at it. Then there are other ways of looking, same thing. So regarding this knowledges, different sciences, we will not have a final answer because they themselves are growing. Either physics, chemistry, biology, all growing. Science is advancing day by day. Many new areas of fields of knowledge are opening. And therefore, you will not, because it is, by point of view, because it is made up of parts, several parts. So you look at it from one angle. But Vedanta will, regarding Vedanta, whatever doubts you have will resolve. Either you know the thing, or either you don't know the thing at all. That's it. Either you know yourself as a whole, or either you don't know. There are two things here. Partly I understood, Swamiji. Anything which is partless, if you understand in parts, it is not a knowledge. Because a thing doesn't have a parts, and you know it as a parts, means it's basically error. Could you follow what I'm saying? And therefore, please understand this. And therefore, here, the Shastra is very clear about the vision it wants to convey, and this is only vision that can be handed over to another person totally. Nothing else is understood totally, and therefore cannot be handed over totally also. So definitely all doubts are resolved completely through the dialogue, and dialogue definitely requires a teacher. There is a student and there is a teacher. That's another second argument for why we need a teacher. One can study independently. I will tell you when you can study independently also. There is not a big thing. Teacher is not always a part of the package, okay? So yeah, 1 + 1, free. So we want Shastra, Swamiji, along with that this teacher comes, 1 + 1, free, +1. No, later you can study. When you can study, I will tell you also. Anyway, so this is two things. Third thing is, what is basically negated, what is to be negated to gain this vision of whole, is endless. What you want to negate is endless. Because endless notions about that Atma. So the study definitely implies this total removal of all wrong notions, doubts, vagueness. In your mind, there are two things. Vagueness and doubts are different things. When you definitely spell that this is a doubt pertaining to the Atma or something, well, that's called doubt. But you say, when I tell you, you are limitless whole. Swamiji, I can't accept it. Okay, then what's your doubt pertaining to that self? I can't specify, but I can't accept it also. Somehow my mind says no. That shows a vagueness. When the doubt cannot be spelled, that this is the doubt, well, that's called vagueness. And sometimes we clearly say, this is my doubt pertaining to that. Because a certain philosopher says this pertaining to something. Because everyone has, regarding the self, everyone talks. Some say the Christianity, etc., talks as a soul, etc. But everyone has some concept. In our Indian systems of philosophy also, there are, everyone talks. Nayayika says one way, the Sankhya says differently, Vishishtadvaitin says differently, Madhvacharya, the Dvaitvadi says differently, and we say something different. And therefore there are doubts pertaining to this self. So anyway, so whether the student raises this question or the Shastra itself raises the question, we call Purva Paksha. Shastra itself raises the question, as if the student is asking the question, the doubt of the student. And well, so therefore that shows whether a student really asks a question or whether Shastra itself raises a doubt in order to resolve, give a clarity. Well, then definitely it should be in the form of what? Dialogue, right? It should be question, that should be answer. Then again question, that should be answer. That's how more you study, more you find clarity. So one gains knowledge, the clarity grows. Knowledge doesn't grow. You gain knowledge. Suppose I will explain you in one class that you are whole. Really, you will accept totally. Yeah, Swamiji said, and I understood. Clearly you will understand. I'm not claiming like that, but there is a method. Okay, but afterwards, once you go out, and again you feel I'm an individual being only, something like. So, clarity in the knowledge grows. Yeah. Like, the clouds we have, so many clouds, and then slowly clouds get dispersed, and the sun comes out. So this is called so you get a clear sky now. So that kind of a thing. So ignorance and this confusions which are born of that slowly goes away. You will understand and you will say, I am consciousness. But then clarity still is not there. It takes time to. And why that takes time, etc. Also we'll see that. So anyway, so this is how a dialogue is important. If a dialogue is important, then teacher is required. This is one thing. Second thing is why a teacher is required is which tradition is required. Tradition is required is, see, everything that is said in Vedanta has a certain relationship with the whole. And so it is to be understood. Any given verse, everything is to be understood in connection with that whole. Like, and therefore vision of whole is basically necessary. Like, I always had a doubt. When I study Bhagavad Gita, when I study the first chapter and the teacher was teaching, our Guruji was teaching, and then it talks about the grief of Arjuna. And I thought, what is the connection of this grief with the moksha, etc., or with the Brahma Vidya, etc.? You don't find connection. There is a grief because, well, his near and dear ones are dying. They are going to die. They have not yet died. But there is a possibility. It's a Kshatriya's war. In Kshatriya's war, nobody shows its back. They will fight to death. Either they will win or either they will sacrifice their life. That's the only thing. And therefore, if Drona and Bhishma are going to die with the arrows of Arjuna, then definitely Arjuna will feel sorrow, even with the possibility of the death of this teacher and other relatives, etc. So that is there. What is its connection with the moksha? Could you follow what I'm saying? What is its connection? And what is its connection with the Upanishad or Vedanta or something? So that even verses which describe Arjuna's sorrow should be understood in connection with the Brahma Vidya, etc., Atma Vidya. So who will give this? Teacher has to tell. One who has vision of the whole can definitely tell about it. Right? For us, it's a catch-22 situation, really. Because unless you study every verse, you don't gain the vision of the whole. And unless you have a vision of the whole, you cannot understand every verse without connecting to the whole. And therefore, basically, one should have a teacher who will show that every verse connection with that whole vision of the Vedanta. And therefore, a teacher is very, very essential. Once you gain that vision of the whole, then you can study independently. Then you can say tata to basically teacher. Really. And there are people, our students, they are studying independently now. And because you gain that vision over the years of study with the teacher, you gain that vision. So this is how a traditional teaching of Vedanta is very important. Otherwise, one will not be able to gain the vision of whole. And if you don't gain the vision of the whole, where is the question of gaining moksha? So what transforms you from this jiva individual to Brahman Parmeshwara, who is the cause of the entire universe? So either you say I am the cause of the universe, or either Parmeshwara says I am the cause of the universe, is one and the same thing. Well, that kind of a transformation is definitely by studying with the teacher, who himself has got the knowledge from his teacher, etc. And so Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. The teaching tradition should definitely begin from the Ishvara, because Ishvara is the one who should not go to someone else for gaining the teaching, right? That is so because Ishvara is Sarvajna. Therefore, the tradition should begin from the first teacher. That's how Dakshinamurti we have. Dakshinamurti means a first teacher. Teaching to whom? Teaching to the 4 students, that Sanat Kumaras. And so Bhagavan took a form of a teacher. This is what it is, mudra, etc. We'll talk sometime. So this is how, regarding the tradition, etc. And there are many things also. There are paradoxes. So many paradoxes. In Bhagavad Gita itself, Kathopanishad also, Atma is something which is subtler than the subtlest. Atma is something which is bigger than the biggest. Atma is something which is closer than the closest. Atma is something which is farther than the farthest. What is this? What is this? It's a prattling of an insane mind. You are whole? No, I am whole. This is whole. From whole came. And once whole goes away, what is left is whole. What is that? Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya. Bhagavan says, Masthani Sarvabhutani Nachaham Teshu Vasthita Nachamasthani Bhutani. All the beings in the world are in me. I am not in them. Okay, fine. Thank you. But then, Nachamasthani Bhutani. Well, they are not in me also. Hey, you said they are in me, and now very next. Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Bhute. What is a night for these samsaris, jivas? Ajnanis, ignorant people. Well, that is a day for the wise person. And what is a night for the wise person? Is a day for this samsari. What is this? Paradoxes. And somebody has to unlock it. So you need a teacher for that purpose. So several ways I am explaining, because parallelly the study of Vedanta is going on at several places. Somewhere it is a traditional teaching, somewhere it is academic. So this is a difference actually. Anyway, here also, now come to the Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad, sage Saunaka goes to Angiras and seeking this Brahmavidya, and then Angiras teaches him. It will begin with Shaunaka's very beautiful question, and in which he is asking about a knowledge which is very specific. So at the outset, well, the Upanishad mentions a line of teachers, ultimately, who initiated this teaching of the Upanishad. So few names have been mentioned, even in the first verse itself, first mantra itself, in the Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad. Brahma Devanam Prathama Sambhabhuva, etc. The first teacher is a Brahmaji, etc. Brahmaji got knowledge from the Narayana, etc. So that means Brahmaji is manifestation of Narayana. But so this is how it begins with the Ishvara, ultimately. So, and then Shankaracharya ji by implication raises a question, that's how I would like to discuss, is whether these teachers created a knowledge, self-knowledge. Well, nobody creates knowledge, by the way. Nobody creates any knowledge. Knowledge always is. Only you tap to gain. Knowledge of physics in terms of physical laws are always there. You only tap. That's how we have a word discovery. Just remove the cover. So knowledge is always there. No knowledge is created knowledge. So definitely we look upon the Veda also as something that is given, right? Given by the Ishvara. So it is not created. Veda means a knowledge. It is given by the Ishvara. Everything is given, including this also. So the word given can be taken actually, all the way. Really speaking, everything is given. So the body, the mind, the senses, and the powers and all resources are given. Knowledge is given. The possibility to know is given. Ignorance is given. You are born with ignorance. Ignorance is not something by your will. Let me have some ignorance. No, no. So it is, you are born with that. So ignorance is given. The body is also given, well, along with the ignorance. That's a capital. It's given. Everything is given. Capacity to know is given. And definitely, since ignorance is there, that's how we have sense organ and mind. If you are already omniscient, then what is the use of sense organs? Right? So, our sense organs and mind reveal that definitely we are ignorant. So that to gain knowledge, these are the instruments. So this is how. So, and where there is a possibility of knowledge, there is possibility of ignorance and error also. And where there is a possibility of error, and there is possibility of many religious theologies also. So there is a possibility of confusion also. Blind leads to blind people, and something like that. Andha parampara. Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad talks about it. I myself am not aware of what is the self. And well, I talk something. And I have a big following also. This kind of things are there in the world. So definitely it's andha parampara. A blind leads blinds, that kind of a thing. So andhe naiva niyamana itha andhaha. Upanishad talks. Anyway, so knowledge that is given should be gained through means of knowledge. The means of knowledge are given to you. Senses, etc. are given to you. The perception, inference, etc. are given to you. And they are inadequate. And when they are inadequate, the third means of knowledge called words are given to you in form of words, Shastra, Veda, that is also given to you. So when everything is given, then we can say this knowledge also is given. The possibility to know is given, the means of knowledge given, right? Everything is given, therefore knowledge also is given. Knowledge is already there, you tap. You basically, you definitely operate your means of knowledge, mind, senses, and gain the knowledge which is already there. You discover it, basically. You remove the cover. Knowledge is always there. And well, so when everything is given, well, we can say this knowledge is given. And this is in the general sense of the word given. Now I have to specify something. So, but we do not stop at general sense alone. If we have to accept the tradition, definitely, then we have to accept both in general sense and in particular sense given. In general sense it is given, fine. In particular sense it is given. In particular sense the knowledge is given to particular people called rishis. So every Veda, recension, the Shakha we call, recension of the Veda has a seer we call rishi, who basically sees these mantras, etc. And so that is revealed to the rishis by Ishvara. So in that sense it is particular, in a particular sense it is given to the rishis. Who are the rishis? One who did not get the knowledge well from his contemporaries is called rishi. Then how did they gain the knowledge? Well, Ishvara revealed this knowledge in the form of words. And words in which language? The language which you know? The language which is known to the rishis, Sanskritam, of course, in that language, because it's the Dev Bhasha. Sanskrit is considered the oldest language. That is accepted. That's accepted. Because all historians accept the Rig Veda is the oldest. That there is no doubt. And it happens to be in Sanskritam. So the Sanskrit also is the oldest language. Maybe spoken language also, maybe anything which is written down in form of either on that leaves, etc., transcripts. Before that, language will be always in terms of speaking first. We always learn to write later. First you speak A, B, C, and then you start writing, right, as a child also. So written form, well, definitely always later. One learns language first, to speak, spoken language. So definitely Sanskrit is the oldest. So that is the familiarity of the rishis. So in those words, in that language, oh, well, definitely it is revealed to them. By whom? By Ishvara. So that is also So knowledge is given to the rishis, but in a particular sense. And that is how in Kenopanishad, Shruti reveals this Parameshvara, which is the cause of the entire creation, to the Devatas. So the Devatas were all thinking. Means they gained a victory. And after gained a victory, they had a party in some party group somewhere. And all were saying, I killed those many demons and I killed those many. Then Bhagavan thought, well, whatever the power one has is ultimately, it's my own manifestation. A human being is basically a powerhouse. You have a power to act, power to desire, right? And all these powers one has, it's ultimately manifestation of Ishvara. I am the cause of the entire world. And therefore, this Devata said, I killed. Bhagavan thought, let me teach them a lesson. And Bhagavan appeared in one corner of that place where the party was going on one corner, in a form of a yaksha. It was so effulgent, so effulgent. Devatas, whose loka is called Dyulokaha. Dyuloka means which is very shining. Well, and the Indra and everyone felt, we have never seen such a form, an extraordinary form. Parameshvara took that form and he appeared in one corner. It was so effulgent. And then Indra told to Agni, go and ask, who is this person? We have not invited him here. Agni went there, and then before Agni asked to Yaksha that who are you, etc., he asked, who are you? It is like it's an insult. It's like asking Prime Minister Narendra Modi or Trump, who are you, like that. The whole world knows. Whole world knows. It's an insult, in fact. But this person didn't understand. And I am a Jata Veda. I can burn anything in this world. Okay. He gave a blade of grass, dry blade of grass. Gave it and said, burn it. He could not burn. Then they understood. He understood. Devatas, there is some sattva. They understood. Yeah, I think we are unnecessarily, showing our pride that we have won, etc. But he came back with a head down. And then Vayu Devata also was sent, etc. Then Indra realized that they have come back. When Indra went, Yaksha disappeared. When you go to somebody's place, person says that you come, I invite you, and you go, you find a lock. The door is, the person has gone out. That kind of a thing. Indra immediately prayed. We did some mistake. And we always, Devatas take help. They could not win over Danavas. You see the stories, they always take help of Ishvara. Then with the help of Ishvara, they win. But once you have a victory, definitely you feel that it's your own victory. This is a common thing. When you get success, you say, well, it is because of me. When you get failure, you find some other form. Always. This is the thing. Some victim somewhere. Maybe even wife also may say, you are saying like that, etc., etc. So this is how the thing is. Anyway, but then Indra prayed. And in place of Yaksha did not appear again. Brahman did not appear in that. Brahman was there, Parameshvara was there in form. He did not appear to say, well, I am Brahman, I am Parameshvara. Brahman never says, I am Brahman. We'll see that. Brahman never says. He doesn't have any words. Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad very beautifully says. It doesn't have legs, it doesn't have hands, it doesn't have eyes. Anything which has eyes, ears, etc. has a form. Anything which has a form is an object. Otherwise, how will you say it has this? Means it becomes an object of your knowledge. What we are talking is a subject. Formless. Never available for objectification. So Parameshvara cannot come and say, I am Brahman, because of me, you, and I am the cause of the entire creation. No. Then Uma appeared, Shruti. Veda appeared to introduce Parameshvara. Upanishad has to tell, you are Brahman. Brahman cannot tell you. It is in the form of the self. Therefore, it doesn't tell. Could you follow what I'm saying? Shruti appeared They're called Uma there. So the Devi appeared, and she said, the Yaksha was Brahman, because of which you gained the victory, but you forgot it, etc., etc. This is a story. Anyway, now here, well, basically, so here the rishis were given this knowledge in a particular sense. The mantras were revealed to them, etc., in form of words. And we should know this, that regarding, it talks about the self, which is not totally unknown. We should know this. The self or I is not totally unknown to you. If I say, well, basically that, do you exist? You say, what kind of a question you are asking? I know I exist. What will you say? I know I exist. Means you know yourself. If you know yourself, if you know the self, then what is my role to play here? Could you follow? When I say, do you exist? You say, yes, I exist. I say, how do you say you exist? I know I exist. Means the knowledge of I everyone has. Knowledge of I everyone has. You don't say, well, I exist or not, I don't know. Let me ask to my wife. No one says like that. I know I exist. Further you may ask, who am I, etc. For that you may go and ask, well, you narrate, etc. And she may narrate about you. That's a different thing. But at least this much knowledge you have that you are there. You exist. Then in that case, I, the self, is known. Right? Is known. Then where is the question of self-knowledge? Where is the question of self-knowledge? Knowing the self, knowing the I. But I know I'm there. Yeah. So you know you are there, so you have a knowledge. At the same time, you have not knowledge also. There is something unknown part of you, and there is something known part of you. That is where mistake occurs. Before that, let me give you an example. Like, you know, when you on a trail, when you are walking, especially in the evening, and it is at dusk, the sun is about to set. So you see on your path, I mean on the trail, that something is lying. And something is lying, you know. But you don't know it is a rope. But you have general knowledge that something is there. That much knowledge you have. Something is there. What is exactly there, you don't know. So it is a known thing, but it is not known as a rope. We have this example. Some people who know Vedanta, they say, the example has come again. Let's plug it. But there are people who are new. See, when mistake can occur, when one thing is basically not known in a particular sense, in general sense it is known, there the mistake occurs. So that is the time when you, if it is a full sunlight, etc., well, you will see the rope as a rope. When it is total darkness, there is no question of even knowing anything is there or not. Right? Total darkness, no problem. Means you will not commit a mistake of taking it as a snake, because you don't know anything at all. You may put a leg over it also. Total sunlight means, well, in daylight, well, you know it as a rope, no problem. But it's a twilight, where you can see that there is something. But what is it, you do not know. So it is known as well as unknown. That is where mistake occurs. And that is where mistake occurs. So same way, so you will take rope as a snake. Same way here. Well, I know I am. I'm a conscious being. This much you will not have to ask to anybody. I know I am a conscious being. Means you know yourself. But at the same time, you are limitless consciousness, the whole, Brahman, etc. You do not know. And since you do not know that, you commit a mistake of taking yourself as a limited being. Yesterday we were discussing a limited individual, etc. Like the rope is mistaken as a snake, the I, which is really a Brahman, is mistaken as a Jiva, etc. Individual. So this is how it's a mistake here. Anyway, so well, definitely Upanishad gives this knowledge of the self, which is Brahman. So, and which you can definitely recognize, you can verify here and now. Definitely, right? So it is a question of a recognition. It's not a question of experiencing. In all experiences, you are there. Without you, where is experience? In a seeing, in a hearing, in a talking, in a walking, any experience, in eating, well, you are all the time there. In fact, you are that conscious being, and therefore everything you know, everything becomes evident to you because you are a conscious being. If consciousness itself is not there, where is experience? Therefore, in all experience, you are very much there. Therefore, there is no question of experiencing yourself. But yes, in the experiences, I am there, which is the basis of the entire experience, which is the limitless, that you don't know. So, Vedanta basically doesn't talk about the experience of a self. Vedanta talks about recognition of a self which is present in all experiences. Vedanta doesn't talk about, Vedanta says there is no need of experiencing yourself because in all experience you are very much present, but definitely you don't know that you are the very basis of the entire experience. That you don't know. So there is a question of a recognition of oneself rather than experiencing oneself. So Vedanta basically analyzes our experiences, our day-to-day experiences. We never talk about an extraordinary experience. Otherwise, then it becomes a self also should be experienced because there is some extraordinary experience which I don't have. I have to experience it. No. Whatever the experiences are there in a waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, all are experiences. What is present invariably in all the three is you. Do you know that? No. Well, means definitely you don't recognize yourself as the basis of the entire unchanging basis, the truth of all experiences. You do not know. Not that you totally don't know yourself. You know that you are a conscious being, but you don't know you are the basis, the truth of the entire life. Life is nothing but all experiences. So that you do not know. That is recognized through the analysis of the experiences done by this teaching of self. Anyway, so definitely, so they reveal that you are whole and that there is nothing separate from you. And this is very simple to understand. Whole cannot be separate from me, or I cannot be separate from the whole. If I am separate from the whole, then there is a hole in the whole. Am I right or wrong? There is a hole in the whole. H-O-L-E. In W-H-O-L-E. Common sense. If there is something called whole, it is non-separate from everything, including me. Then, well, I should claim what? I am whole. No. I am a limited being. Yeah. So there is definitely, you don't recognize yourself. And with perception and inference, you can never arrive at whole. Anything which is whole can never become an object of knowledge. If it becomes an object of knowledge, you are the subject, away from the object. Then if you are away from this object of knowledge, object called whole, which is away from you, then it is not a whole. Would you follow? So the means of knowledge, please understand, I am showing you the significance of Upanishad. People always say, well, self is here. Then why you and your teacher look here? When self means Atma is here. When Atma is here, you should look within. Why you and your teacher are looking out? But what can I do? The eyes with which you see the entire world, if I want to see those eyes, what should I do? What should I do? Should I turn my eyeballs inside? I should have external means. To see my own eyes, the eyes by which you see the entire world, to see those eyes, I need external means. Mirror. What can I do? So, well, basically to know the self, whatever the means of knowledge are given to you, perception, senses, and mind, which can do inference, etc., well, they are fit to know the world, objects. But what is behind the senses and the mind, right? That conscious being, well, to know that I don't have means of knowledge. I need a external means of knowledge, mirror. What is that mirror? Shastra. Shastra tells you, the knower of the world, is basically the consciousness, limitless consciousness, etc. That is how Upanishad walks in. And then, well, one has to hold the mirror also properly, right? Mirror has, suppose this is a shiny surface, it has to be held like this. Who will hold this mirror? Teacher will hold. So that's how we have some place, okay? Showing some significance of ourselves. So this is how the Upanishad, well defined. So there is no way of challenging. There is no way of challenging. When Upanishad says you are whole, how will you challenge it? If I say, look at a mango, a very Alfonso mango in my hand. What is this? This fellow is a crack guy. This Swami is a crack guy. You can challenge. Why? Because it's also an object of knowledge for you. It is also object of knowledge for me. If I commit a mistake, you will challenge. But if self, which is not an object of knowledge for anybody, not available for perception, not available for inference, logic, right? How will you challenge it? How will you challenge it? Therefore, you approach the Shastra with a certain attitude. The way you have a attitude behind your sense organs. When when your eyes reveal something, you never question. You never question. Morning you open your eyes and you see. You never question whether my eyes are seeing properly or not. When somebody says, look, Swamiji, you should show your eyes to a doctor because I see this thing and you say something different, then I may definitely doubt my means of knowledge. Otherwise, we have a Shraddha. Shraddha means acknowledging the validity of means of knowledge. We have full Shraddha in our sense organs who give us a data, objective, of the objective world. We have a Shraddha. That kind of a Shraddha should be there for this means of knowledge, which gives me the knowledge of self, which is not available for my perception and inference. So it's an attitude of Shraddha. Shraddha means, well, definitely pending discovery. You believe, let us say. It's not a belief, but you believe till you discover, till you recognize that yes, what Shastra says is right. So there is attitude of Shraddha and Bhakti, etc. Bhakti means a love, definitely. You love your means of knowledge because they are helpful in giving you the knowledge and you trust it also. That's the difference between a love and Bhakti. There is a little difference. When we say love, it is generally between two people or between a person and an object. When we say devotion, Bhakti, that is also a love, but a love for the higher principle. That's called Bhakti. That's how love for the mother, we call it as a Matru Bhakti. Love for the country, we call it Desha Bhakti. Love for the Ishvara, because there are higher principles. Where higher principle is there, there is a love, reverence also is there. That becomes Bhakti. So definitely, so love and reverence together becomes Bhakti. So this is how, with the Shraddha, these are the given by the Ishvara. Ishvara has definitely spoken through the Veda. And therefore, definitely you have a Shraddha. As you have a Shraddha or a trust in your means of knowledge, when you are interacting with the world and they are giving you the data, you definitely take them as they are. Same way that Shraddha is there. And as such also, I don't have any means of knowledge to contradict what Shastra says about the self. Because it is self which is not available for objectification, right? So I have a means of knowledge that is available for objectification, for the objective world. Shastra talks about some subject. Therefore, have a Shraddha, and definitely I am the whole is a recognizable fact. And the validity of the Upanishad is established when I definitely gain the knowledge over the years. When my commitment, etc. is there, Shraddha is there. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Tatpara sanyatendriya, Bhagavan said. So Shraddha, mere Shraddha will not give you knowledge. Tatpara, so you should commit yourself. And then certain disciplines are required, sanyatendriya, etc. Then you will discover that it works. And the knowledge it gives cannot be negated. So this is, up to this, is a description of the word Muṇḍaka Upaniṣad. And in the evening we will have, first we'll see the meaning of the prayer, which is part of, we call Shanti Patha. Bhadrang Karane Vishnuyama Devaha, etc. And also I will tell you this because this is the mantra which is in the first chapter, second section, and the 12th mantra. So what has gone before, I will tell you also in a summary form, so that you will have a background before we really study this particular mantra. And so that we will do in the evening. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.